I have a question. Do you need to be able to pleasure your partner? Does your partner hate the things you do in bed? Do they need a cute onesie? I mean, you can solve all these problems by just going to ddlgplayground.com. If you want to get a dildo there, you can. You can use it to pleasure yourself. That'll be great. So, Issac Butterfield has released a video titled Women Sent to Prison for Saying Men Can't Be Lesbians. Now, this is one of those situations where if what he's saying is true, then that's pretty awful. But something tells me that there might be just a little bit of misinformation here. Let's go ahead and take a listen after we get into the fan art section. The first one we have here is from a Nubian. Revenge art Suris is now the monstrosity. Ah yes, now I am the glob gol gob galab. And I love books. And this place is a true treasure trove. The next one we have here is from Satoki Nijikawa. First time drawing pixel art, a coin for the Neko. And it has the best words. No, it doesn't. Get it out of here. The last one we have is from Axo that has cream. I had made this a while ago, but I'm putting it here after improvements. It is margarine Taylor Green. I want to commit Roblox. And with that, thank you all for your fan art submissions. Or not. Insert end video tagline here. We're done. We're done. We're not doing the video anymore. No, you lost it. You lost all privileges to that. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And fuck it. We're just going right into Issac. Let's go. Boop. Boom.
I fear we're drifting towards a world where it is impossible to tell the truth. Or maybe we're already there. There has never been a time in modern history where it is so dangerous to speak truthfully.
You said the same thing twice in an edited video where you had every ability to cut out fluff. What do you mean by the truth?
You can have everything in your life taken away from you just because you tell the truth. And that's madness. We all have to pretend that things are reality when we know they're not.
Like
and
what?
What is the punishment if we refuse to do this? In some cases, you can even go to jail.
That's a big one. Axolotl says this is literally the guy who almost got me sucked down the right wing pipeline. Jesus.
Be locked up in a cage because you refuse to bend the knee. Ladies and gentlemen, This is a problem. A real problem. This isn't me being hyperbolic. You can actually go to jail for this.
Okay. Sure thing. Let's go ahead and hear what thing people go to jail for.
Norwegian actress Tonje Gojo... That's a terrible pronunciation. Tonje, yeah. Faces 3 years in prison for saying that men cannot be lesbian. Well, Tonje, I might just join you in prison because no, they can't.
Okay, so that was from the New York Post. Let's do a thing here real quick. New York Post media bias fact check. The very first thing we need to do whenever we do any of this is take a look at our sources and see if maybe they might have, oh, I don't know, a right center to right bias with a mixed rate of factual reporting. That's fun. That's fun. I like that one. I like when my sources have a mixed rate of factual reporting. That makes me just oodles happy. Why don't we go ahead and do just a slightly better? Let's check Newsweek. They're a little less biased and a little more factual. Let's do that. Before we get into any more of the video from Issac, let's maybe read a couple of other articles and see what has been said specifically here. So we could listen to Issac say it, or we could read it from the article itself and get rid of the hyperbole that he says he definitely isn't using. Or Norwegian artist said that she has been charged by police for saying men can't be lesbians and faces criminal charges and potential jail time for her comments. Tanya Gevin, a lesbian who represented Norway in the 2016 Eurovision Song Contest with her group The Hungry Hearts, is in hot water for comments she made on Facebook on October 1st, where she complained about Norway's gender identity politics. She was later informed by the authorities that she was under police investigation for some of her content in the post. She then claimed that she's under investigation for saying men can't be lesbians, which is unequivocally a lie, according to Alexander Sorley, the founder of the trans advocacy group, Norwegian Patient Organization for Gender Incongruence. Quote here is, "There is no one who's educated on this law even slightly who would make that claim," Sorley said, adding, "We don't think that statement should be illegal. We're also pro-free speech. She needs to be honest about why she's being investigated. She can't lie and make up a story that is actually about harassment and not about some relatively minor comment on biology." Oh? Interesting. The law that's being referenced is Section 185 of the Penal Code, which outlaws hateful speech made with the intent of gross negligence against people based on race, skin color, religions, life circumstance, gender identity or expression, sexual orientation, or reduced functional capacity. Police confirmed with Newsweek that this is, in fact, for potential breach of Section 185, that Gevin is being investigated. That's weird. That sounds maybe a little bit different than the way Isaac said it. That sounds just a little bit different. Let's continue. Let's take a listen here. In the Facebook post, Gevin targeted Norwegian activist Kristen Gentoff, a trans woman who is a lesbian and a mother to an 11-year-old. Said it's just impossible for men to become lesbian as it is for men to become pregnant, Gevin wrote. Men are men regardless of their sexual fetishes. There's a little more in this statement than just saying that men can't be lesbians. There's a little more happening here. She then dead-named Gentoff using a trans person's birth name rather than the chosen name and referred to said trans woman as a man throughout the entire post. Gevin wrote that trans women like them, heterosexual lesbian men such as Christine Gentoff, have, by decision made in the Storting, been given mandate in the law to press charges against lesbian women like me and all other women and men who express aversion at the attempts made by these men to use legislation against heterosexual men and women and lesbian women, who point out how damn humiliating it is to have to accept the bullshit rubbish contained in gender identity and packaged as the vulnerability of a minority. Except for the fact that trans people are a vulnerable minority in practically every country that they exist in. I'm sorry. That's the case. That is the case. You can ignore that reality, but it doesn't stop it from existing. She also accused LGBTQ organizations in Norway of using legislation passed in 2016 to report people who don't want to comply with this insane belief regime. But Gentoff, a prominent Norwegian transgender activist, didn't want the police involved because she had no intention of doing anything about the post. He said, "I find it ridiculous she was literally quoting an already existing verdict from the Supreme Court in an attempt to get herself investigated and convicted by the police. So the police had to open an investigation against her without telling me." Gentoff told Newsweek, saying that she has been the target of a harassment campaign by Gevin for years. So she's totally free to voice these opinions. The problem is when she keeps voicing discriminatory opinions repeatedly towards the same person for years and years, Gentoff said. Sorley also said the artist had the intent to provoke the police, which might end up having her taking her to court. And she has told me explicitly to take her to court. Gevin even admitted one of the motivations behind the post was to get the attention of authorities and have the chance to share her beliefs in the court system. This is where it belongs in the legal system, and I want to talk about it in the legal system. Wait, so Isaac, are you literally getting upset that the woman planned to be jailed? Like she did this all on purpose. She did this with the express intent to jail herself. She literally fucked around, found out, and now you're the one upset. Okay, let's continue. Police attorney Johanna Loras of the East Police District in Norway confirmed to Newsweek that police had received a complaint about Gevin's post and that the matter is under investigation. Those found to be in breach of Section 185 face a fine or up to a year in jail for private remarks and a maximum of 3 years in jail for public comments. Loras said the police were still determining if the Facebook post can be considered as hateful and punishable or not. So she's not even necessarily being sent to jail yet? So we're even further away from this being an issue. However, freedom of speech is an essential human right and also protected by law, both by Norwegian law and European Convention on High Rights, the police attorney said, adding that they could not comment any further on the case due to ongoing investigation. No duh. The police investigation comes after Norway Supreme Court ruled in September that a man had violated Section 185 when he wrote on Facebook that trans women were perverted man-pigs who roleplayed that they are little girls, among other comments. It upheld the 2021 Haraldala district ruling, giving him a 15-day suspended sentence and 2 years probation, including a fine of $1,500 and court fees. Gavin told Newsweek she doesn't believe in the concept of gender identity and started speaking out on the issues following proposed changes to national legislation in 2013. Eventually passed in 2016, the law was amended to allow people to update their gender on official documents without requiring a diagnosis or medical treatment. So Norway just decided to be based. And she's upset about that. Oh dear. The self-identification laws allow anybody over 16 years old to apply for a change of legal gender themselves. Children aged between 6 and 16 can legally change their gender without medical intervention, but must have the permission of at least one or other parents or guardians. Only general guidelines exist in Norway for gender-affirming medical treatments such as puberty blockers or surgery, and they are not legally binding. The legal changes sparked a backlash from gender-critical activists, or as Yevon described it, it was the moment when all hell broke loose. Gender critics believe that sex is biological and not related to gender, and also believe a person can't change the gender they were assigned at birth. You know, I can change social constructs. Anybody can, by just operating differently within those social constructs. These are two incongruent beliefs. Could be a straw man, but they're incongruent with one another. It's an injustice for lesbians, and it's an injustice to force us to into the belief that men can be women. She said, as I see it, they want to demonize women because women are in the way of their project. The legislation has consequences for women, citing access to safe spaces, sports, access to health care, and freedom of speech as the potential victims of self-identification laws. She calls for any official documentation that records sex to be measured by biological sex and not gender identity. Gavin is convinced that she would have been encouraged to transition as a child because she was such a tomboy. She accused the trans community of intimidating young people who might be questioning their gender. So, I will say, there is a tiny, like a micro ounce. There is a microcosm of truth to that statement. It's a shockingly small one, but it is small. There are some people who are encouraged by some communities who are not very well educated in issues that they should be, that get pushed into believing things that they shouldn't. Like, there are some people who get convinced that they are trans, just like there are some people who get convinced that they have DID, even if they don't. It just depends on which community you find yourself in. Like the Tulpa community that believes that actually them having DID is a manifestation of various gods they may or may not be able to summon in Yu-Gi-Oh-like fashion. You can find yourself in one of these communities that is very dangerous to your mental health. DID, dissociative identity disorder. DSM-4 classified it as multiple personality disorder. DSM-5 classifies it as DID, as it is a broader spectrum than originally anticipated. There is a microcosm of truth to that. But levying what can happen in some offshoot communities to the entirety of all people who are trans and operate publicly online is nightmarishly stupid. It is nightmarishly dumb. That is absolutely fucking bonkers. But I'm curious now. What ways did Issac frame this?
Of course they can't. You might even get in trouble if you say that men can't get pregnant, because that's now the mainstream point of view, apparently. And yeah, sure.
Yeah, Because we agree that men can be people who are trans, there are men who have wombs and can get pregnant.
Trans men can get pregnant, but don't drop the trans. Keep that in there, otherwise it's completely false.
No. Trans is a supertype. It does not negate the subtype. I hate to tell you, Isaac, but trans being a descriptor doesn't change what, men are. We can have men that are trans. It's fine.
There's more. The wage gap. Constantly being told that men get paid more than women just because of vagina and penises. That is not true. It's been disproven 1,000 times, and yet Anthony Albanese, the Australian Prime Minister, has been pushing this idea that he's going to save the women with the wage gap problems by being their superhero, even though it's not real.
And yet, when we actually account for wage gap differences, we find that women do make less than men on average, even when we account for the usual apologetic of men go into riskier fields, men take more risks, men go into higher paying jobs like truck driving, etc. Even when we account for that, we still find about a 10 or 13% wage gap between the genders. It's nowhere near the 30-some-odd% wage gap that is claimed by most feminists. But it is still a wage gap, and it still exists. So, yeah, feminists may not have gotten the exact number correct, but the logic is still there and still sound. Oh dear. Isaac, you may have to admit you're wrong one time or three. What a weird concept.
Lying to people, getting votes by lying. Well, I guess he is a politician. It makes complete sense. But it's ridiculous. And then there's the mainstream media and politicians with a certain sickness that I won't go into details about because this video will get blocked. But the lies that we were told have now been outed, and the things that we were saying were truth have now been confirmed to be truth, but they were told they were lies.
Wait, what sickness do they have that you can't talk about, otherwise you'll get demonetized? Which one? What sickness do they have? I need to know. Does anybody has Isaac talked about this sickness in other videos before? Has he done that? Can we? Has that a thing he's done? Cause I need to know what that means.
You gotta play ball. I know, I'm making no sense, but it makes complete sense. So why do people accept this shit? Well, it's because they're scared. They're scared to get in trouble. They're scared to lose their job.
I thought we were talking about the article. Why aren't we talking about the article anymore? Wait, why? We've gone, it's an edited video, and we've managed to go off base from the subject matter. That's for live streams. That's for my territory. How did we get here in yours?
They're scared to have basically been sent out to the wilderness alone and be shunned by society. They don't want to be outcast, and that's why they sit back when these conversations full of falsehoods are being talked about or being discussed, and they sit back and they just go, okay, whatever, I'll just cop it on the chin. Well, if you could...
Okay, so Isaac, you need to demonstrate that the things are false. You've admitted that, hey, trans men can get pregnant. That means the statement, men can get pregnant, is true. Like, that's a true statement. You've not disproven the statement. All of the words, these are the same words.
Continually do nothing, and you continue to just sit there silently, then problems like being locked up for saying that men can't be lesbians arise.
Oh,
we're
back. We're back to the subject matter. That's great.
I want to focus on two stories. Number one, the lesbian and men situation, which honestly, if it does come out that men can be lesbians, it will ruin lesbian porn for me. And also a story about an Australian mother who told her son that boys and girls exist, and that's it. And she got in a lot of trouble. Yeah, because that makes complete sense. But
okay, I just want to talk about the one story. I don't want to split this into two videos. I pulled up the article for the other story, anticipating that. I didn't anticipate you not to somehow in a 10-minute video go over both. Sorry, I may not be the best person with brevity, but come on, my guy.
But first, it's time for a big bad sale. Ladies and gentlemen, men with dicks, ladies with vag, men with vag. Listen up. Whoever you are, we all need to do wee-wees in the middle of the night.
I'm sorry, Isaac. You do not get to plug yourself. I get to plug myself. I get to plug myself instead of you. So, instead of that, Hey guys, I have a question. Do you need to be able to pleasure your partner? Does your partner hate the things you do in bed? Do they need a cute onesie? I mean, you can solve all these problems by just going to ddlgplayground.com. Use coupon code Suris. You can get 10% off anything there. If you want to get a dildo there, you can. You can use it to pleasure yourself. That'll be great. You do you. But, you know, if you don't like my content, that's entirely fine. I'm okay with you still using my coupon code. But please, when you get that plug, use it to go fuck yourself first. Just, you know, use the coupon code anyway, because why pay more money out of spite? That's literally stupid. Anyway, yeah, ddlgplayground.com, coupon code Suris. There we go. I did my plug. Fuck his plug. Let's skip ahead to when his plug is over. There we go.
Australian mother, Louise Barry, 23 years old. Now, what's the best way to really ruin a young woman's confidence who's just had a baby at 23 fucking years old? Well, you drag her name and her motherly tact.
Okay, so I'm gonna do something terrible. I'm so tempted to skip this because it's not the subject matter I went in to talk about. I'd be doing this one completely blind. Fuck it, let's do it anyway.
Through the media and treat her like a big piece of shit. Why? Because she said something grotesque. It's disgusting. What did she say? Here's a quote. Miss Barry said her son, this will make you spew, you ready for this? Will be raised as a boy, because that is what he is.
Okay.
And said he will be taught there are only two genders. Oh my God.
All right, so first of all, Sylvia Silica, thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. And Cute Dark Arts, thank you for redeeming your points for an ara. Okay, so here's the issue. I'm getting very selective parts of that article. I'm not even sure which news organization that article is coming from. With the other one, we were able to literally, like, grab the article, see how reliable the general, newsos are with that article, and then find one that's a little more respectable and go forward with that. That's the thing we were able to do. Here, though, I don't have any information. I have nothing to go off of. Let me see here. Let me see if maybe we get some info.
Disgraceful. She should be punished the only way I know how. A fate worse than death. She should be made to spend a sexy evening in a hotel with Dr. Fauci. Ooh, yeah.
Do you know how to do something other than hyperbole? Like, I'm sure that's entertaining for somebody, but I kind of just want you to get to the point.
That's hot. Anyway, the media cracks the shits with her, and it only makes it worse that she also said in her TikTok video that she's not going to refer to chest feeding as chest feeding. She's going to call it breastfeeding because she's a bigot. So basically...
Please get to the point of why it matters.
She just committed 15 hate crimes. But if you watch the video and you read the comments on the article, everyone agrees with her. That's what's absolutely mad about this.
Wait, so you're saying that when a content creator throws content out into the aether, the algorithm tends to give that content to people who usually consume that type of content and therefore will agree with the content creator? Oh my God, the TikTok algorithm has been solved? Oh wait, we already knew that. That's how YouTube works as well. Okay. And is it just that, like, a couple media organizations said things about her? Is that what it... Did she get shat talk on the internet and now you've got to talk about it? Is that what this is?
Majority of people are all on the same page, and yet we pretend that because we're worried about some, I don't know, weird Big Brother situation that we're going to get in trouble, we pretend that she's a bad person for what she's saying. And the media loves these stories. That's why they perpetuate these stories.
Okay.
They know that people are going to click on it, they're going to comment about it, it's going to go out into the algorithm, get bigger and bigger, and they're going to make more money from ads that are shown on their website.
You mean kind of like what you're doing? You mean kind of exactly like what you and I both do as content creators on this platform right now? Like that. No, something about stones and glass houses, I guess.
That's why they do these things. So for them, pretending to be offended is now their business model. So this was all pretend. No one was actually mad at this lady. She's right. She's spot on. Fuck. So luckily for the...
Wait, so now you can read the minds of other people and you can tell when they actually believe the things they say? That's interesting. That's a superpower I wish I had.
She lives in Australia. And she's relatively safe here. But there are places in the world where you can be locked up for thinking the wrong thing, saying the wrong things.
Yeah, that's usually one of the issues we have with Islam, my guy. But, you know, Zimmer says, thoughts on minorities? They're people. What thoughts would I need to have on them? You have 2 comments you can make before I just decide to turn you into a toy.
You can be locked in a cage, just like Norwegian filmmaker and actress Tonje Givon.
Oh my god, we're back to the title!
Is facing up to 3 years in prison on...
Thoughts on ethnic minorities? They're still people. You have 1 more comment to make before I turn you into a toy.
On criminal hate speech charges after saying that a man cannot become a lesbian.
And as we demonstrated by going through the entirety of a news article without the bias associated, we managed to come out the other end realizing there was more said than just that. And we also found that she specifically was trying to trigger police to investigate her specifically. Like we know that because we read the article and not from the website you were using, from one that's just a little less biased. Thoughts on financial minorities? What would you consider a financial minority?
Let's all just take a moment to think about what's being said in that sentence. She is facing 3 years, and she's mid-50s, so we're talking 10% of the years that she has left on Earth, facing time in a cage because she said something that is factually correct. Of course men can't be lesbians. That's the most retarded shit of all time. If there's a cock involved, you're not a lesbian.
So I have a question. I have a question. If you happened to be, and I'm going to use my usual example. I fucking hate this person, but dear God, she works as an example for this. She always will. So you're telling me, that if a woman who was born a woman, a cis woman, if a cis woman were attracted to this person right here, that they would be that would be straight. A cis woman being attracted to this person right here, that would be them being straight. That's what you're saying. Cause last I checked, that's a girl. That's a girl. Said you're not attracted to horrible JPEGs. Blame Blair White's Instagram. This is her fault. This is entirely her fault. All of her Instagram pictures are like that. They are all terribly compressed JPEGs. So if somebody were attracted to Blair and they were a girl, that would not be a lesbian attraction. Simply because Blair does, in fact, and makes no bones about the fact, that she has a penis. Now again, I don't fucking like Blair. I think she's an asshole. But she's a really good litmus test sometimes.
Tonje Givon, a lesbian filmmaker and actress, why does it matter if she's a lesbian? I don't know why that's in there. Was informed on November 17th that she was under investigation for speaking out against prominent Norwegian activist Christine Jentoft on Facebook. Jentoft, I was on oh my God. Jentoft is a transgender female, so she was born a man, okay, that often refers to herself as a lesbian mother. She probably doesn't even have kids, she just identifies that she does.
She literally has an 11-year-old kid. Isaac, you could have read the article and seen that she has a child and the child is 11. That was a thing that you could do. That's a thing that you could do. You could have read. You could have done research before you said shit on the internet. That wouldn't have been difficult. It wouldn't have. And yet, okay.
Jentoft previously accused another woman, Christina Elginsson, of transphobia for a similar claim. Elginsson is also
Ellingson. How is that one hard to pronounce? Ellingson. What?
under investigation and faces 3 years in jail as well. Oh my God, what the fuck is going on in Norway? You shouldn't even get an eyelid battered at you if you say that men can't be lesbians. It's obvious that they can't. But
there was more in the article than that, Isaac. We literally proved that before we got here. I don't even think we need to continue with this video. I don't. We hit the point. The dude can't read. The dude can't fucking read. He's... Isaac. Isaac plays Yu-Gi-Oh! He can't fucking read! Where's the semicolon, Isaac? Sorry, had to get that out of there. Isaac, my guy, when you comment on the news, it is a good idea to read the entirety of the news and then comment on the news. We did that live. I hadn't read the fucking article before I started. I hadn't done that. I did that organically, live, during this. I got the article ready beforehand because I fucking anticipated this. I figured this would happen. No, Jassa Proxy, nobody knows what the fuck bot agreed does. Not a single goddamn person. I anticipated this. I figured this is exactly what would happen. Sylvia Silica says I play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I can read? Sylvia, that's wonderful. Apparently you also can lie. Let's go into the comment section real quick. Let's see if any of his people called him out on that. Hate speech and speech that you hate are not the same thing. I love how the world is literally becoming a George Orwell narrative. Even worse, says Pat Smash, Anime PFP, is that I hear so many people say that freedom of speech should be limited or abolished entirely, and one bloke even said criticizing public health institutions should be met with a jail sentence because bitching and moaning undermines the health response. I mean, if you have a big enough platform, then it kind of does, actually. It kind of does. So Isaac apparently demonstrated in this video that he can't read a news article, he can't look at context for things, and his entire purpose for making videos on the internet is to just get a reaction out of you. He just wants the reaction. And if you try to say that I'm wrong and I can't read his mind, I'm just demonstrating the same level of tact that he used in his own video. He apparently was able to use his super-duper mind powers to figure that stuff out himself without talking to anybody. So I don't have to talk to him. I can just do the exact same thing. Tit for tat, my guy. Very easy. Very easy to do. But with that bit of depression out of the way, I guess I have to throw it back to you guys. What do you think? Let me know how you feel about all of this madness in the comment section below. How do you feel about people not actually giving the entirety of the articles they're going after? How do you feel about that stuff? Or do you prefer when people actually, read the entirety of the article, at least up to the point where the relevant information has been given to you? Let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, everybody, let me know how you feel, and insert end the video tagline here.